Fisher & Paykel, you're a small and innovative company that's created a niche market where your products dominate, right? That's because we have a superior product. That is your organisation, and today you've asked us to align and address the future of the organisation in the medical devices industry. So before we answer this question, let's take a step back. What do? We're a company that produces products that humidifies and heats air, that goes through a series of consumables being masks, nasal prongs to help support the respiration of patients. This technology is used in two major ways. Firstly, in hospital setting, that's respiratory and acute care, so RAC. Secondly, and OSA, that's obstructive sleep apnea. So that's a medical condition where patients stop breathing during their sleep because their airways become compromised. It's one of the fastest growing conditions in the Western world, with increase in incidence rates of 10 to 15%, largely because of growing population, aging population, and also obesity, and furthermore, actually, better diagnosis. So let's look at where we are in terms of our market. So an invasive RAC market, that's having a tube in your throat to help you breathe. Our superior product has allowed us to have a 70 to 80% dominance here. In a non-invasive market, we recognise that we have a small market share, but we've been growing at a 32% rate last year alone. And we've got a large population that could potentially be our clients. In the obstructive sleep apnea market, I want to highlight that 75% of patients are undiagnosed. That's a huge market that we can potentially tap into. So for our presentation, we want to focus on two major areas, and these are highlighted above, and that's why, to answer the question, we want to help strengthen our superiority in the consumables market and also increase our market share in OSA. Implementing these two strategies, we're hoping to increase our NPV of $45 million, and how we propose that is to increase and develop our consumables, make it even more superior, increase the market share of OSA, and also expand geographically.
Cool, so the two key issues that we've identified for Fisher & Paykel Healthcare is that first of all, we currently have a small market share within the consumables, and second of all, there's a large number of undiagnosed patients with OSA. So currently Fisher & Paykel Healthcare has about a 5% market share within the flow generator machine market. This is dominated by Philips and Resmed, which have about 40% share each. Although Fisher & Paykel Healthcare has about a 10% share of the consumables for these devices, it accounts for 75% of the total operating revenue. So our consumables give us a competitive advantage. We've spent lots of R&D developing patented designs that increase the comfort as well as efficiency of our consumables. Therefore, we believe that if we increase the market share for this consumables, we can increase the total operating revenue. Also, there is a large number of people that are currently undiagnosed that have OSA. So therefore, if we increase the portion of the pie of patients, we don't directly try and outcompete our larger competitors. In the developed world, this is 45 million patients. But we also believe that the developing world is a market that is currently not targeted by our competitors that we can initiate in. The conservative approach of 4 million undiagnosed patients in China is where we hope to start off this strategy. So the first arm of our strategy to increase the market share within the consumables is to first of all increase our manufacturing plant within Mexico. We also aim to develop a new R&D lab within the US. So the superiority of our products is because of R&D. R&D also has allowed us to sell our consumables for about 10 times the price of other people. R&D is driven by human capital, and it can often be difficult to attract experienced personnel locally. So therefore, we want to immerse ourselves in the innovation environment of San Francisco. So on top of that, with the expansion of our manufacturing plant within Mexico, having the close proximity allows our experts to frequently do site visits to the manufacturers, which enables them to benefit from their hands-on communication rather than simply just giving someone a phone call on the other side of the world. Our second arm of our strategy is to increase the awareness of OSA is through strategic alliances with healthcare providers. So by increasing the awareness of OSA, we simultaneously increase the awareness of Fisher & Paykel healthcare. You may be asking yourself, why don't our competitors who are much larger than us utilise this market? So we kind of want them to be honest, because even if they gain a market share for the devices, we can sell them our dominant consumables, which is compatible across all of the machines, which will therefore increase our sales and increase our revenue.
For the implementation of our first strategy, consumables, we have 3 implementation arms. The first one being increasing the operating efficiency within our plant in Tijuana. Fisher & Paykel uses an SAP system to control its supply chain procurement. What Mercury proposes is for Fisher & Paykel to talk with the technical team and at SAP and try to reduce and optimize the lead time from the floor on the factory to our market. The second implementation arm is to overcome the regulatory hurdles. Fisher & Paykel already has extensive experience in dealing with regulatory authorities in the developed world, for example, the FDA in the US. However, if we are to target developing countries, we must also gain knowledge and experience in dealing with authorities in developing countries, for example, the SFDA in China. For the third implementation arm, the US R&D office, considering that this R&D office will only comprise of 10 researchers, and because Fisher & Paykel already has extensive operating experience within the US, we believe that this would not be an implementational hassle. However, we did perform a financial analysis for it. For the implementation of our second strategy, healthcare alliances, we again have 3 implementation arms. The first one being sponsoring key and relevant events. For example, NAMDRC, the National Association of Medical Direction of Respiratory Care, and sponsoring events such as CHEST 2015 annual meeting. The second implementation arm is go out and talk to our representatives at our developing countries. This is mainly because they have the primary market experience. They know best how to educate those customers about OSA. The third implementation arm is once again regulatory hurdles. A country might be worried if a foreign company suddenly comes into their country and tells their citizens that they have a respiratory disease. This might have legal implications, and therefore we have identified Lindsay Gillanders, our current director at Fisher & Paykel, and who has extensive experience in dealing with regulatory regimes. We believe that using Lindsay's previous experience and specializations, the implementation of healthcare alliances would not be as difficult as possible.
The first step in our financial analysis was to value Fisher & Paykel Healthcare using the discounted cash flow method. In order to do this, we made a number of assumptions, the key one being that revenue grows at the same rate as the average of the previous 5 years. This discounted cash flow analysis gave us a net present value for Fisher & Paykel equal to $260 million. The next step was to value each strategy arm to see whether they are financially feasible. In order to do this, we modeled Fisher & Paykel's expected future profits. By varying the assumptions in our model, we are able to value each strategy arm and thus understand the financial implications of our strategy. Our first strategy looks to create an office in the United States for approximately 10 employees. We have estimated that this will cost $3 million per year. The effect that this will have will be to increase our market share, and the net present value associated with this strategy arm is equal to $21 million. The next strategy is to administer a number of conferences and seminars in the United States and China, which we have estimated will cost $1.3 million per year. This will also have the effect of increasing the market share, but additionally it will increase the OSA diagnosis rate, and this strategy arm has a net present value of $24 million. The full effect then is to increase Fisher & Paykel Healthcare's net present value by $45 million to a new sum equal to $300 million. We believe that this justifies our investment and that our strategy and finance are justified as well. Thank you.
Alright, so we've got some time to answer some questions that you guys may have. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. So when you said you were going to find a large number of undiagnosed OSA patients, and you meant for China, is there
So for our implementation, we gave China as an example, but sorry if we did not specify enough. We were also intending to target US, and that is mainly because that is our largest market. However, we have targeted China, but only the top 10 cities in China, mainly because we see the potential in China in future increases of healthcare expenditure, and therefore we are proposing that Fisher & Paykel slowly start to develop their markets in developing countries other than the USA and Europe.
I want to talk a little bit about your consumables business. At the moment, we already have some innovative and leading edge consumables, and yet we've got quite a low market share. How does your strategy of investing additional R&D effort actually help us grow that business?
So currently, consumables in general, we have a low market share. However, we believe that, as mentioned in our previous slides, that in the non-invasive sector of consumables, we have a 70 to 80% market share, and that is probably a reason. A reason for that is because our consumables are superior, as you said. And if we implement our second strategy, which is the healthcare alliances and educating the undiagnosed OSA patients, if we increase the amount of diagnosed patients, then people might start using our consumables more. And because we already have a superior product, it's a matter of just identifying that they have the disease and therefore letting them use our consumables.
I've got 80% market share in rack, and it's growing at 32% a year, and I've got 5% market share in OSA, yet you think we should concentrate on OSA. Why?
Okay, so basically, when it comes to RIC,
Yeah.
there is two divisions.
Yeah.
There's invasive and non-invasive. So
Yeah.
for the invasive one, we have 70 to 80% market share.
Right.
But for the non-invasive, we don't really, and that's 30 million patients.
Right.
So basically obviously it didn't come out that clear in the presentation, but what we aim to do is with the consumables, address both the RIC non-invasive as well as the OSA.
You might also be wondering, if we suddenly educate our market, what is stopping them from using our competitors' products? However, this is something that we put in the nitty-gritty of the implementation and couldn't discuss it due to time constraints. However, what we propose to do is use the model that Colgate uses in New Zealand. Whenever a dentist acknowledges to a patient that they have a disease, they give them a pamphlet about that relative disease and how to cure it. However, that pamphlet is sponsored by Colgate. It has all of Colgate's products. And therefore, when we educate, when we increase the size of the diagnosed people, the practitioners will be giving pamphlets that will have Fisher & Paykel healthcare products on it. And therefore, subliminally, we are approaching them in a sense that you have OSA, and although there are competitors' products, they will prefer Fisher & Paykel's superior products more.
Thanks, Ed. Yeah, with your strategy for the US, there's three parts in there. Operating efficiency in the production plant there, getting a handle on the regulations there, and also putting up your, growing your R&D office there. Can you give me a bit more comfort that they're going to actually be achievable? It's just like that. All three of them seem to be taking quite a punt that you are going to get more efficiency. Just sort of curious, why is it inefficient now? Why does it seem? How are you getting more production efficiency out of it?
Well, we're not saying that what we're doing right now in this plant is inefficient. We're a company that is known for innovation. We're simply investing more to refine the process even more, so we can make it even more efficient, bring products faster into the market and from our production line to coalface of our patients. So we're not saying that what we do isn't inefficient, but we're saying we're constantly trying to improve our efficiency. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, and sort of wondering how you're going to squeeze more efficiency or get that less productive. Yeah. How you can be so sure of it. And that, just as you're going through those three areas, I just thought, you're taking quite a punt. You're going to get more efficiency out of it. You're saying the regulations in the US, and also you're going to be able to spin $1 out of doing more R&D in the US.
Yeah. So specifically in relation to the R&D in the United States office, the key benefit is its proximity to our manufacturing lab, and we believe that being able to directly communicate, the direct communication that those two facilities will have, will allow our products to become better. And since our focus is on research and development and the innovation of our products, we believe that it's a justified expense in this case.
Thank you.
Well, you said you were going to focus, same line of question, a lot more on the R&D office. And you did mention that our competitors are so much larger than us, have more funds, and that equally, well, they're already spending more on R&D. How do you plan to compete with them in this field?
Well, currently looking at Fisher & Paykel's operations, most of the R&D is done in Auckland, and therefore our strategy is in fact a strategy to directly compete with our competitors and increase our R&D capabilities. We believe by setting up our R&D office in the US, we will have more easy access to top quality R&D graduates, and therefore increase our superiority of our products as well.
Just to add on to what you said, just to further answer your question, what we want to focus on is the consumables. Our competitors can focus on the devices, and we realise that they have much more money, much more power behind that. So we want to focus on the niche of consumables that is compatible with their machinery as well. So that's what differentiates us from our competitors.
Sorry, just one more question on that. So now that you've moved R&D to the US, and we have New Zealand / Australia as our testing ground for new products, how will that affect it? Because now you have this half-world gap between your R&D and where you can test the new products.
So we acknowledge that New Zealand and Australia are very important markets as a platform for further global development. However, the R&D office in San Francisco is only an office of 10 developers. It doesn't necessarily change the whole focus of R&D from New Zealand to the US, but we are placing a presence in the US so we can reap from the benefits that our previous colleagues have talked about.
At the moment, Fisher & Paykel is focused on the R&D through to manufacturing, through to sales and marketing. Are we playing in the right parts of the value chain? What is the team's view?
So some of the core values that we want as a company. So firstly, innovation. Our company was one of the first to introduce humidifiers into the ventilation system. That increased compliance from, I think it was about 65% to 89% when it comes to CPAP. We're one of the first, and what we're doing in terms of innovation is in line with that. One of the other values that we want is to expand geographically, and this implementation and our other implementation addresses that. We want to expand both production and our marketing globally, and that's in line with it. Thirdly, we want to increase our market share. That's one of our core vision in the Fisher & Paykel sort of company setting. We are doing that through our implementation with increasing awareness. So we are effectively addressing most of our vision and core values within the company.
Why San Francisco? Why not locate next to the best hospital with sleep apnea research?
The reason we chose San Francisco is because we researched where the top biotech companies currently are, and the top two are based in the California area, and 5 of the top 10 are based in California. So we want to be in amongst those guys. That's why we chose San Francisco.
Can I just stop you there? Well done, guys.